I love mornings. Wow. So in today's video, I am going to show you what I eat in a day. Right? It's like, okay, so you're a dietitian, but I want to see what you eat. Right. So before I show you my meals, I want to explain what I eat and why I eat the way I eat. Wow. I feel like I've said eat so many times. So let's start. I'm so excited. So what do I eat? I do a low carbohydrate diet. And what I mean about carbohydrates, I mean your high carbohydrate foods such as biscuits, pasta, rice, and cereal. I know if you're a high carb person, I think this is a hard one to take in, isn't it?
You want to go to Taco Bell?
I can't go to Taco Bell. I'm on an all-carb diet. God, Karen, you are so stupid.
So why do I not have high carbohydrate foods? Because depending on your background, on your nutrition background, you might be aware or not about the effects of eating a high carbohydrate diet and how these can affect your blood sugar levels and especially insulin levels. So let me explain. The reason why I do not have high carbohydrate foods are, first, they are very, if I could keep saying very, I would. They are very nutritionally poor. If you omit them, you will not have a nutrient deficiency. Especially refined carbohydrates, which are your white rice, your pasta, your cereals. I know, but they're bad. And when we say refined, we mean the grain is mechanically milled to remove the bran and germ portions of the seed. So the nutritious parts are removed and then they add chemicals to make the food more stable and not become rancid and also make it of a desired color. And you may wonder, what about brown rice, right? It's a whole grain. And whole grain means that it has all of the parts, or at least it remains most of the parts of the grain, including the fibrous bran and the germ. So yes, even though it might be unrefined and have the whole grain, it's still very high in carbohydrates. And that's the second reason, okay? The carbohydrates. So even though it's a whole grain, it's still very low in nutrients, and those nutrients that the whole grain may have, which are trace amounts, other foods have. So I rather give up those small amounts of nutrients, but don't have to deal with the problems that high carbohydrate foods cause. And this is what we're going to discuss. The problem is that eating high carbohydrate foods will raise insulin levels. And what is insulin anyways, you may ask? To not make it overcomplicated, just know that it's a hormone that controls your blood sugar levels. So let's go back to carbohydrates. First of all, they make you hungry all the time, having to depend on food and constantly eat. Remember, the 6 in a day meals. Does it sound familiar? Snacking all the time? Yeah, because if you don't eat, you will feel moody. Your blood sugars won't be stable and you will gain weight. And most importantly, high levels of insulin correlate to so many health problems, such as insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, diabetes, PMS, and other hormonal imbalances, and many more. So it's a very important hormone. So by lowering your carbohydrate intake, you are able to lower your insulin levels. And then they can be stable throughout the day without having the highs and lows, okay? Because when we compare the 3 macronutrients, which if you don't know, are fat, protein, and carbohydrate. Carbohydrates are the ones that raise insulin levels the most, then protein, and then fat. That is why fat is your friend, not your enemy, okay? Stop the fat phobia, okay? That's a very important thing. A lot of people are afraid of fat, and you shouldn't be afraid of fat. You should be afraid of carbohydrates. So that is the reason why people need to constantly snack or have breakfast in the morning, because otherwise they will crash eventually during the day, or they'll feel moody and tired and groggy. So rice, pasta, biscuits, cereal, waffles, although I do low carbohydrate waffles and pancakes with almond flour and coconut flour, which that can be another topic for another video. Just because I don't eat them regularly, it doesn't mean that I never have those carbohydrate foods, okay? If it's a special occasion, it's fine. I never ever want to promote a strict mindset. When we talk about diet, we mean the foods that we regularly eat. We eat to get nutrients. But if it's your birthday, or you're traveling to another country, or it's a special occasion, I don't know, like you want to have a girls' night with your friends, but it has to be special occasions. It can be a constant thing. You need to have a diet during the year that is sustainable and provides you with all the nutrients you need, because we know this will determine our health. Of course, if somebody wants to lose weight, I will tell them, you gotta be strict, okay, for a while. You have to lower your carbs and not have those special occasions. But once you reach your goal and you're healthy, that's the most important thing. We don't care so much about weight. First, it's get healthy and then lose the weight, okay? It's not like you lose the weight and then you get healthy. It's get healthy first and then you lose the weight, okay? You have high levels of insulin, you will not lose weight. You can calorie restrict a lot, but it ain't gonna work for the long term. Eventually your body will fight back. And this is something people don't think about. They start restricting calories, but then what? Are they gonna do this forever? No. And what happens? They quit. And then they gain all the way back. And sometimes they gain even more weight than the weight that they started with. The moment that you increase your calories, your metabolism starts holding on to those calories because you basically messed up your metabolism.
Is butter a carb?
Okay, now that we took the carbohydrates out of the picture, I eat the least processed I can. So I always try to cook my food from scratch. Try to avoid packaged foods. They're all full of horrible ingredients, fillers, additives, sugar. Don't do it. Just don't. I do a lot of animal products like fatty fish, which is full of omega-3 fatty acids. I eat meat, which is rich in vitamin B12 and other B vitamins, and iron, good quality cheese, which is super healthy for you. It's high in calcium and vitamin K2. And then I do a lot of vegetables for my vitamins and minerals. I make sure I get enough protein and fat throughout the day, which will help me balance those sugar levels and have lots of vitality, and most importantly, not have to depend so much on food. So how frequent do I eat? Because the insulin thing is not all about carbohydrates. It's also how many times you eat in a day. Do you know that? I'm going to change your world. I eat 3 times in a day because every time that you eat, you spike insulin levels, no matter what you eat. Remember, like we said, carbohydrates spike insulin levels the most, and then protein, and then fat. So no matter what you eat, you will spike insulin levels. It's just the difference between these, right? So it's a myth that eating frequently, like 6 times a day, speeds your metabolism. I don't know who the hell came up with that idea, because that person knows zero about anatomy and physiology. Now, with high levels of insulin, what happens? You won't lose weight. You won't. Think about all the health conditions that have high insulin levels. Diabetics, pre-diabetics, hypothyroidism, PMS. They have a really hard time losing weight, and sometimes they will tell you they don't eat that much. But like I said, it's not about calories, it's about your hormones. It won't work if you calorie restrict but you have high levels of insulin, you won't lose the weight. So since I do low carb, I don't have to depend on food that much. I'm rarely hungry because I'm running on my own fat and my levels of insulin are stable. And this allows me to fast in the morning. So I won't have breakfast in the morning. I'll have my breakfast as my lunch. It'll be sometimes at 1 and sometimes at 2, depending on how many patients I see that day or if I don't work in the morning. And not only you will feel amazing because you are running your body on your own fat, creating ketones, which that's another topic for another video because that can be a little complicated if you don't know what ketones are. Don't worry, I'll make a whole video explaining how ketones work and all that. Like I said, you don't have to depend on food. So in the morning you wake up, you can either go for a run, do your own workout, whatever you want to do, and then you can start working. You don't have to rely on food. And when you produce ketones, let me tell you, it's like being on steroids. You are super focused and you have lots of energy. And you are also super productive. And you don't waste time having to meal prep. And you save up money. Because you're not constantly eating, so you don't have to constantly buy food, you know, because those snacks add up, right? So yeah, I hope this was helpful. I think I made it pretty simple. So yeah, let's just start with my meals. Let's go and see those meals, because I know you want to. Let's get started. I don't know why I dance. And if you know me, you know that I like to dance. Anyways, let's go. Let's see those meals. Are you ready to see those meals? Are you ready? I know you're ready. I know you want to see those meals. I know you want to see them. So remember, in the morning, I won't have breakfast. I am not hungry that early and I'll have coffee. And this is the almond milk that I use. This one is pretty clean. It's just almonds. No additives, no artificial flavorings, no synthetic vitamins, just clean ingredients. I use monk fruit, and this brand is not just monk fruit, it's erythritol and monk fruit. This is an alternative to sugar. It doesn't raise your insulin levels and it's organic. It tastes pretty similar to sugar. It doesn't have the aftertaste that stevia has. For me personally, I do not like stevia. And then for lunch, since I've been fasting, I'm honestly not hungry. It's when you start eating during the day that you start getting hungry. But when you've been fasting and you start eating, it's like you have to force yourself because you're not hungry. So when your insulin levels are stable, honestly, you are rarely hungry. Sometimes you have to force yourself, otherwise it's like you'll never eat because you're never hungry. So for lunch, I don't like to do something very heavy or a very big meal because otherwise I'll feel tired after eating. Remember, we've been fasting for so many hours and then you give calories and the change in blood sugars make you feel tired afterwards. So it's important to not make a huge meal. So for lunch, I had mozzarella and salad. And these olives are amazing. They come with olive oil and garlic and seasoning, and they are amazing. So yeah, a great lunch full of protein from the mozzarella, and then great fats from the olives and the olive oil. And well, mozzarella does have fat too. And then the vitamins and minerals from the veggies. And I had kombucha with my meal because I don't know about you guys, but I love kombucha. It's so addictive. And then I had Greek yogurt with raspberries and Lindt 90% dark chocolate, which is very low in sugar and high in fat. And then in the afternoon, I made a smoothie with strawberries and blackberries. I added yogurt and my secret, add coconut cream because it makes it the creamiest smoothie in the world and it's full of healthy fats. And I also had my cake that I make with almond flour and coconut flour. So it's low carb. And then for dinner I had pasture raised meat with olive oil and veggies, and then I had a little bit of brie because I am a brie lover. So this part I am about to show you is very funny because you are going to see how happy I was about my hairstyle, so how much I loved how my braid turned out. And then later when I went to edit the video, I saw how my braid kept falling off and was completely destroyed. Guys, I was looking at the hairstyle and I'm like, so cute. Like from the side, it's like I'm a princess. Honestly, I love it. It's so cute. I think I'm gonna keep making this hairstyle because it's like, you know, I'm a princess. I'm a princess. Oh yes. Anyways, yeah, just wanted to talk about my cute hairstyle. Meal for your queen. Do you do it like this? What the hell is gonna take me serious with these timelines?